What is up, everybody, and welcome to more FLW videos. In today's episode, we are going to be focusing on the Ultra League and doing those online Go Battle battles. And we're having a lot of fun with this, and what I wanted to do was actually highlight a Pokemon, Snorlax, and talk about it for this Ultra League. Now, for the most part, the way that people kind of view Snorlax is a direct counter to Giratina. No moves are going to be super effective against you. You can get Lick, you can get Outrage, and you can honestly crush this Pokemon. So what we're going to do is actually use two different teams. What you end up seeing on the screen now is what I currently use, but we are going to use an older battle with a couple of different Pokemon and then transition into this team, and I'll talk a little bit about why. But of course, also talk about the dominance of Snorlax as a whole. I've had a lot of fun with it, to be honest. So with this first team, I end up using Muk, Snorlax, and then Machamp. Now, Muk is kind of a soft counter to Giratina, so I kind of wanted to use it to make maybe the person think that that is my counter to Giratina when it has like dark move, like Dark Pulse, for example. But in this situation, they actually led with a Suicune, which was interesting. This is the first and only Suicune that I've seen so far out of 10 battles. And with my new team composition, if I have Venusaur, I mean, it's going to be lights out. Sure, it has Ice Beam, but it could definitely live in Ice Beam. So my new team would have absolutely crushed this, but unfortunately, I was kind of messing around with it. That's going to happen the first couple of days, but like I said, we are, of course, going to be focusing on Snorlax just as a whole. But in this situation, what I've kind of noticed people doing with Giratina is I have seen a few people actually leading with Giratina, Origin or Alter, doesn't matter. I've seen them lead with it, but the majority of players who are using Giratinas are actually putting that Pokemon at the back and, you supposedly not knowing that they have a Giratina, and then later on hoping that some of your counters to their Giratina already get taken out before you even know that they have a Giratina. And you do not want to have a team that is just down to kind of like the last straw. You've got maybe one Pokemon left and then go into versing a Giratina. That is a very, very tough situation to take it down if you don't have the exact Pokemon to counter it. So in this case, I decided to use a Machamp. The rationale behind it was that I did not want him to know that I had a Snorlax. That's kind of the goal. And plus, he's going to be hitting me with those Bubble Beams, so it's not going to do a lot of damage. I was hoping I could farm him down with my quick moves. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But I'm thinking once again, hey, he's just going to hit me with that Bubble Beam, so it's not going to do that much damage or anything like that. I feel like I'm looking good right now. I've got a lot of energy stored up, and let's see what he ends up pulling out. And it is Giratina. Now, I was worried if I switched over to Snorlax instantly, he may end up actually switching Giratina out, which is a very good strategy. So I kind of wanted to stay in a little bit in hopes that he would maybe use a charge move or something like that. And then I'll go ahead and switch into Snorlax, which actually ended up happening. And then, like I said, in this situation, they do not win this situation. Snorlax is going to directly counter it. So they are, of course, going to pull Giratina out. So now I have to kind of decide this situation. I've got myself this Snorlax, but unfortunately, Snorlax is my only counter to that Giratina. But because of the whole switch mechanic, I have to wait to be able to switch out. So my number one priority is just kind of one of those rock, paper, scissors situations. I've got a Machamp to go up against this Steelix, and I have a Snorlax to go up against the Giratina. So I've got both of them countered, but if I can't get the Pokemon to go up against the right Pokemon, it ends up being useless. So that was kind of interesting that he blocked the shield in that case. I honestly did not expect him to do that because I guess he's going to find out now. It's not going to be doing good damage at all. But I'm trying to just buy as much time as possible. The number one goal is to get Snorlax out of this situation, get Machamp in, let Machamp finish that job, and have Snorlax at the ready to be able to take out that Giratina. So we officially can switch over. I went ahead and did that and just spammed Dynamic Punch in this case to go ahead and take out that Steelix. That was kind of my best win scenario, at least in my mind. He has no shields. I have no shields. We are going Giratina Machamp versus my secondary Pokemon Snorlax. I was hoping I could get out a charge move on that one. It just didn't end up working. So now we are sending out Snorlax. In this case, Giratina can't really do that much damage to Snorlax, so All I have to do is just make it up to an outrage, but because I saved up some energy, getting up to an outrage is not going to be like that much. I'm already there. And ladies and gentlemen, when you use an outrage, you are going to be able to do some tremendous damage against Giratina. So go ahead and check this out. Took it out, no problem. Of course, we had a little bit of a back and forth on what Pokemon go up against what Pokemon, which was his best defense because I had the counters to him. So he had to just try to switch out strategically. Now we're getting into the second battle, and we are going to be using Charizard, going to be using Venusaur. I decided to add Venusaur because I found a lot of people using Swampert, which makes sense. It's a very good budget option for the Ultra League. And I wanted to try out some Charizard because secondly, I thought, well, you know what? I actually have Dragon Claw. So that's actually kind of interesting. Maybe I could end up using this to my advantage. Let's go ahead and switch over to the Snorlax. Like we said, we know it is going to be a direct counter. So what's going to end up happening? We know that they are going to switch their Giratina out because it is going to lose. So once again, what is the goal of this situation? This is why Snorlax is such an amazing Pokemon. We already know that it can counter Giratina. And whenever we go up against it, we know that we are forcing a switch. And unless they use a fighting type Pokemon, you're going to be able to live so many hits from these Pokemon. So now the goal is, number one, to spam as many charge moves as possible. And then number two is to simply outlive this Pokemon. So I don't mind using a shield in this scenario to save Snorlax because we need it to go up against the Giratina. We want to waste as much time as possible. And spamming those body slams, man, you can really waste some time when you're using a Snorlax to be able to get that switch out. So like I said, I've got Venusaur, so I'm ready to switch it out. What's it going to use? A Hydro Cannon? Probably going to. Can I actually farm it down without it being able to get off a charge move? Yes, we can. Joking, all jokes aside. But yeah, we ended up farming it down. That was amazing. This is not an ideal situation because we've got Sludge Bomb and then Frenzy Plant. Both are not super effective. They're not even effective at all going up against Giratina. So unfortunately, I got stuck in this switch. But like I said, I know that I've got Snorlax at the back, so the best thing I can do is just do as much damage as possible. And I actually chipped away quite a bit at it, so I was proud of Venusaur in this case. I want to keep a shield just to be safe and keep it kind of for Snorlax, so ended up living that. Was hoping, you know what, I might be able to make it to another charge move. Going up against that Snorlax, was just able to get it off with only one more hit to go. So he kind of had the same idea. He has a Snorlax. The only thing that I have is a Charizard, but I kind of like my options with Charizard because they're not going to be able to use anything like some type of rock move. They're not going to be able, maybe Earthquake, but Earthquake doesn't do really any damage because of Charizard being a part flying type. So I don't mind getting spammed with those body slams. And this is actually a very interesting situation because like I said before, I've got Dragon Claw. So that means that is actually going to be super effective against both Snorlax and Giratina. And I was kind of having that thought in the back of my mind. Is it possible for me to take out both of these Pokemon with a Charizard? That would be absolutely insane. Just chipping away that damage. And I believe I decided to go ahead and shield this just because I wanted to make 100% sure I was going to end up living from it. So they kind of had a good idea of having Snorlax, and now they're sending out Giratina Origin Form. I do not know why they did that. They should have known that I had that Dragon Claw. I already had it loaded. So thank you so much for switching into your Giratina. Take it out. That was what we were worried about the whole time. Now sending back out Snorlax. I already know that I have my Snorlax, of course, but I actually finished them both with a Charizard. That is crazy. But that just kind of goes to show the power of Charizard. And for those of you out there kind of asking like, well, what the heck is going on with your moveset with your Charizard? Like, why do you have Overheat, for example? We'll go ahead and get on the screen so you can kind of see this Pokemon. So the reason why I've got this kind of moveset is because this Charizard is actually a Legacy Charizard. It has Wing Attack instead of something like a Fire Spin, for example. So unfortunately, because it is Legacy, I can't get a move like Blast Burn. That would be great. But really, my better options are Dragon Claw and Overheat. in this situation. So I had a lot of fun with it. I really wanted to be able to use Charizard, so I was very excited about it. But I can be honest with you, I personally did not expect to be able to just absolutely crush Giratina, even with something like those Dragon Claws, because like I said before, I would have been worried about using Charizard against it if we were going up against the altered form that has Ancient Power. That would be a big no-go. Charizard could not pull off that win if you were going up against Giratina that has that Ancient Power. But anyways, this is all focused on Snorlax by any means, so hopefully you did enjoy this. I would love to know what you think about using Snorlax in the Ultra League. Is it a part of your team? What is your team? What are the Pokemon that you are using for this Ultra League? Anything and everything, let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you next time. If you want to develop a deeper connection, I would highly recommend you to check out Patreon. We've got a lot of really cool things going on over there. Check out all of these supporters that we have. We are almost up to 100. We are also posting some special content, some behind the scenes work. And if that is the type of thing that interests you, I would highly recommend you to check it out.